winter in Canada. In case you guys haven't noticed, Canada has 4 seasons and winter is one of them. Now I'm coming up on my, no, not coming up, I'm currently going through my 7th winter here in Canada. But what was my first winter like? Hi guys, welcome back to another video. If you guys are new here, you guys know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I want you guys also to share your experiences of your first winter here in Canada. If you're a returning subscriber, returning viewer, welcome back to another video guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the Andersons family. It's been a while since I've done a story time, and I thought to myself, why not do a story time about winter? You guys know that I don't like winter. It's not my favorite season. I talk about it all the time. However, it's a part of living in Canada and we just have to deal with it. So if anybody comment and say, hey, if you don't like it, go home, I'll tell you, I promise you this, I will not reply to your comment. Anyways, moving on. I came to Canada in 2019 with my family as an international student, and I landed in this medium-sized community called Prairie, located in Alberta, 4.5 hours north of Edmonton, right? Prairie has a population of roughly 70,000 people. I call it small, some people call it medium-sized, but it has the best of both worlds. Sometimes it feels like a big city, sometimes it feels like a small town kind of thing. Now, winter in Prairie can be brutal. Of course, winter in Alberta in general can be brutal. Just a couple days ago, Prairie was ranked high on the list of cities in the world, coldest cities in the world, and at one point even made it to the #1 point. So at some point, Prairie was the #1 coolest city in the world. That's the city that I am living in. Now, coming from Jamaica, temperatures are sunshine and beaches and, you know, hurricane and stuff like that. That's the only thing we have to concern about really in terms of not favorable weather. Rainy season, but sometimes we like the rain. We make the best of it, you know, playing a canal and all those fun things. If you guys know, you know. But for the majority of the year, it's summertime. Yeah, right? It's 12 months of summer. That's what we're used to. Temperatures get as hot as plus 40 degrees in Jamaica, plus 42 in other places in Jamaica sometimes, in some places, sorry. Average temperature is anywhere between 35 to 38 degrees, typically. So coming to Canada, when I landed in Canada, I landed in September of 2019. And when I landed in Canada, the temperature was probably 10 or 12 degrees, which I thought was really, really cold, to be honest. However, I quickly learned that that was actually t-shirt weather, right? But because I came directly to Prairie from Jamaica, leaving from plus 38 degrees to plus 10, plus 12, you can understand that for me, it felt freezing. However, I was in for a rude awakening. Now let's get into the story time. Now, when I landed in Canada, you guys probably, if you have been following our channel, you guys would know that, hey, we didn't come with a whole lot of money. And we've never traveled before, so we didn't know what to really expect. And we never really get the roadmap that many of you guys have gotten that can make yourself more prepared to deal with whatever seasons that may, right? So we were pretty much winging it. We went to the thrift store. My wife and I, we went to the thrift store because I said we never have no bag of money. So all I want to shop in a thrift store. That go with it. But we went to the thrift store, we got ourselves some jacket and whatever we think that we needed. But yeah, let me just tell you guys that whatever expectations that you personally have of how cold it is, it's actually going to be colder than what you think it is. And that was what we experienced. Now, let's start with our first snowfall. Now, this was something we were really excited about growing up in Jamaica. You know, you see snow on the TV all the time. You know, just the old white Christmas. I remember like when we got approved for our visas and stuff to come to Canada, we celebrated and we're like, yeah, our first white Christmas, yay, kind of thing, right? So we were really excited to see snow for the first time. Now, our first snow experience was not one that we really enjoyed. Now, we actually was buying a car shortly after being here because we have a special needs child, and we decided that, you know what, we needed a car at the time. So we were actually walking towards the dealership, and based on the map, it showed us that it was pretty close to a central location. So we took the bus to the location, and then our intention was to walk to the dealership because the bus didn't really pass that section of town. However, on the map makes it look a lot closer than it actually was. So we had to be walking like for probably 15 or 20 minutes, no exaggeration. And then as we started to walk, the temperatures dropped significantly, and then it started snowing. So our first snow experience was in freezing temperatures, dressed in a little skimpy sweater, and drifting wind, and snow blowing in our faces, and nose running with nose knot, and eyes running with water, and hands freezing, and all sorts of things. Like, even when we got to the dealership, they had to like put us to stand in front of the heat and like even get a blanket and stuff like that. That's how cold we were. No exaggeration. Like, this is like probably an under exaggeration, if anything. So we didn't really get to take the time to appreciate our first snowfall. We didn't really get the time to like take it all in, like take some pictures and our first snowfall and all of these things. We never really get to do that because it was really and truly just like coming at us, and freezing temperature. Now we got to our car, all of that. Then that was just like the first snowfall, but it didn't stay. So the place got a little bit warm again, and then that's how it usually is. It doesn't go from summer to or from fall to winter overnight. Well, sometimes it does, but typically you have more fall days and then some winter days, less fall days, more winter days, kind of thing like that. So it's like almost like a progression into the winter time. So we landed in September, and then that year, apart from that first snowfall that we got in October at the time, there wasn't really much cold until probably the latter part of November or December of that year. And I remember everyone was saying that, oh man, like this year is so unusual. We're used to getting snow and we're used to getting cold temperatures by now, and you guys are the ones who brought the sunshine and stuff like that. And we were like really and truly like happy that there wasn't any much more cold days up to that point. However, we went to our bed one night. I think this was like probably the latter part of November, and then when we got up in the morning, it was snowing crazy. At this point in time, Nas was working a little bit out of town. Took like probably 20-25 minutes to get to work, and she had to get to work at 6 in the morning. So which means that I had to get up at 5:30 at least to get her there and wake up Malika out our bed. Well, no, Nat's mom was here at the time, so we wake up Malika, but she didn't have to come with us at that point in time, so that was good. So going outside in freezing temperatures, snow blowing, this was now my first real experience in driving in snow. Now, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't get a manual. Nobody didn't sit me down and give me a crash course how to drive in the winter time, how to drive on snow. I pretty much fake it till I make it. I pretty much just did it until I got it, right? So driving not to work that morning, I was going very slow. Or I almost said very slow, you guys probably catch that, but I was driving very slow, and the roads were very icy. And this was something that I didn't really know how to navigate off the bat, but then quickly I realized that the stoplights, the intersections, and places like those are typically more icy than the other parts of the road. So when I'm approaching like a stop or an intersection, I usually just give myself more time to slow down and stuff like that, because if I jammed on the brakes, I would slide. If I jammed on the gas, I would slide just the same. So it's almost like a natural progression. So I learned that off the bat, that first driving experience. Dressing in the winter, like that morning as well, like we had to take like an extra time to get ready with our jacket and stuff like that. Again, our jacket was from the thrift store, so when we go outside, we did cold. We were freezing just the same, and we were like, but we have on a jacket, we have on gloves, we have on every single thing, but we were still cold. And that's why you guys have to understand that it makes a difference what type of jacket you buy and where you buy your jacket. Because sometimes we buy these things from Amazon or online or from the States, and not understanding that winter in different places is different than winter here in Alberta or different parts of the world. So you need a jacket that keeps you warm up to at least negative 40 degrees, right? And that was something that we quickly had to learn how to navigate as well, in terms of what type of jacket to get, what type of clothes to get, and all of those things. Now, the fact that we're navigating all of these challenges in terms of not having enough money to buy suitable clothing or have the right clothing, or knowing how to drive on snow adequately and have to get up early and take naps to work in the dark. And that was another factor as well. In the winter time, it doesn't get light out until probably 10 in the morning, 9:45, 10 in the morning. That was an adjustment, taking naps to work in the dark, going to school in the dark, going back to work, taking Malika here, there, everywhere. We didn't really get a chance to really appreciate winter throughout our first winter experience. It was really bad. We learned about a lot of different things like freezing rain. We didn't even know that there was such a thing called freezing rain until one morning throughout that first winter when we woke up. It's like we saw all the cars on the road going like 10 kilometers per hour. We're like, why is everybody driving so slow? And then as soon as we drove out the parking lot, we realized that we're really just sliding all over the place, guys. Like, freezing rain is one of the worst things throughout winter. It's like it covers the road in ice. And oftentimes you can't see it, right? And then again, I have to drive out of town to take naps to work. And that was my first morning getting stuck on snow or freezing rain or on ice. What I mean is that you're at a position and you can't go forward and you can't go backward. Whenever you go forward, the car is just turning sideways. Whenever you go backward, it's the same thing. So you're just like in this sideways kind of spin. I don't know how to get out of it. And then this was a busy terrain, and then I'm causing traffic and I don't know how to get out of it, and everybody's like, what's going on? How did I get out of it? Somebody luckily stopped and they pulled me out. They helped, attach my car to their car and they gave me a pull, and then that's how I got out of it. And that's one of the things that I really like about Grand Prairie is in the winter time especially, people are always willing to help. If your car is not gonna start, you can ask for a boost. Somebody's always willing to give you a boost. If you have a flat tire, which was my case as well, my first winter as well, I went to a grocery store. The intention was just to run in to grab an item. When I came out, I had a flat tire. I wasn't properly dressed. I wasn't expecting a flat tire. I was just expecting to go in and jump back in the car and go home. I was out there, and at this time, Nats and Malika was in the car as well, and I was outside trying to change the tire in freezing condition without a gloves, without a proper jacket, and all of these things. And two guys just came up to me out of the blue, and they just helped me, and I sat in my vehicle, and while they did it, and they just said, hey man, like, you know, we all have it, and like we all go through these things, and like there was like a sense of community, which I really appreciated, because in Jamaica, especially if you're a man, nobody is usually gonna stop and help you. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. If you're a woman, it's probably a different kettle of fish. But if you're a man and you have a flat tire, people are gonna be like, hey, push your car out of the road, or park on the side, or brother, where you do, brother? You block up the road, or whatever the case may be. So it was pretty amazing to see that the community was willing and able to like assist me and many others as well. So that's one of the things that I really like. The other thing that really caught me off guard about my first winter was how long it was. Now, we hear about winter all the time, and we know that December and January and February most times are considered winter months, right? Of course, I'm from Jamaica, and those are usually the peak time winter tourist season is called. Because once you hit December, January, February, that's when the hotels are usually busiest, because everybody's trying to escape the cold. So we know that those months are typically known to be colder months. But I was not expecting March. I was not expecting snowfall in April. I was not expecting snowfall in May. I simply was not expecting it. So it simply means that we started getting snow in October that year, as I mentioned before. We got a little break up to like the ending of November, and then we got snow all the way up to May, mid-May, thereabout. So when all the other rest of the other places in the world was showing pictures of summer, and everyone have their green grass and their trees, and they're having picnics outdoors, and we were still under inches and inches and inches of snow. We were still covered in snow, and we were like, what's going on? And then that was like really spring, the beginning of spring. When you hear on the news or on the radio or wherever on the internet that it's the first day of summer, and you look outside, you're like, not here, right? So winter was very long for us, and seasonal depression was something that we kind of got the first dose of as well. the depression, the anxiety, the feeling of loneliness throughout our first winter was at its peak, right? So I say all of that to say this. If you're moving to Canada, or if you've recently moved to Canada and you're going through your first winter, or you're expecting to go through your first winter, please be prepared. There's no such thing as bad weather, there's only bad clothing. Invest in proper clothing, that will make a big difference, I promise you. Understand what seasonal depression is and try to get ahead of it so that you can know how to navigate it and know how to beat it as well, right? Understand that winter is very long. Be involved. Be involved in winter sports. Get to do something fun outside. Don't be just inside, which sometimes the temperature dictates that. But try to at least be involved. Try to learn some winter sports and try to get out there, out and about, and just try to be involved generally, right? You have to live. Your life goes on just the same. And the last advice is try to enjoy it. If it's your first snowfall, don't be like us who didn't even take the time out to take a single photo throughout our first winter. We didn't even have a good photo that we can say, hey, this was our first winter, our first snowfall, and so forth, so on. We didn't even have that. We didn't even take the time to do that because we were just so busy, so depressed, so caught up in our own world that we didn't even get to do that. So create those memories, right? Create those memories and give yourself a chance to smell the flowers. Pun intended, there's no flowers, but you know what I mean. Right? Give yourself a chance to enjoy it, right? This is things that many of us has been looking forward to our whole lives. It's here in front of us right now, so let's enjoy it, all right? Anyways, guys, I'll end this story time right here, right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please take a second and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.